Bonjour! In this lesson, we are continuing with adjectives, part 4 but group 3. Adjectives describe, modify nouns. They have to agree with the noun they modify. That means usually adding an E for feminine and S for plural nouns, but not always. Here's a not always group, group 3. Group 3 are the ones that end in EUX for masculine, E, and euse for feminine. When your adjective is masculine and singular, it's EUX. When your adjective is masculine and plural, it still ends in EUX. However, for the euse, you will need to add an S for the feminine plural, though it sounds the same. Here's our happy friend. Heureux for masculine and heureuse for feminine. He seems really happy. He seems is he has the air of. Il a l'air vraiment heureux. They seem really happy. Ils ont l'air vraiment heureux. All feminine group. Elles ont l'air vraiment heureuses. To give back an item, to give back something, is rendre. Many people say retourner, but retourner means to go back somewhere physically. Rendre is used for to give something back, to return something. Retourner is used for items only if you are turning over, like to turn over a page is retourner une page. Rendre is also used an awful lot to mean to make. To render somebody in a state. Of course, we use adjectives to describe the state that people are in. So rendre is often used to mean to make, like we may say to make happy. So how would you say, he made Monique very happy? We have the funnily for very here, our man laughing. Il a rendu Monique drôlement heureuse. We made Monique and Julien very happy. Using drôlement. On a rendu Monique et Julien drôlement heureux. Nous avons rendu Monique et Julien drôlement heureux. These adjectives are often the equivalent of the English suffix OUS. For example, dangerous in French, dangereux, dangereuse. This place is dangerous. Cet endroit est dangereux. It's set, spelled C-E-T, because endroit is masculine, but it starts with a vowel. You could use lieu. Ce lieu est dangereux. Stairs, escalier, masculine word. Steep is raide, R-A-I-D-E. Steep, raide. Sounds like the colour red for danger, raide. Steep stairs are dangerous. Les escaliers raides sont dangereux. Most of the time adjectives go after, not always. We will do a bit more on positioning in another lesson. The way down, the descent, always use the fancy word for French, la descente, une descente. The way down is quite dangerous. La descente est assez dangereuse. Thing, chose, la chose, une chose. These things are dangerous and uncontrollable. Ces choses sont dangereuses et incontrôlables. Joyous. We might say joyful, cheerful, happy. But if you go for the joyous one, we have joyeux, joyeuse. Birthday. It's like anniversary. Anniversaire. A-R-Y, ARY words. go up into the air in French. Anniversary, anniversaire. It's masculine. They would say, instead of happy birthday, joyous birthday. Joyeux anniversaire. You join your X to your A. Joyeux anniversaire. You can also say bon anniversaire, good birthday. Christmas. Noël, Noël. They say, instead of Merry Christmas, Joyous Christmas. It's masculine. Joyeux Noël. Easter is Pâques. Joyous Easter. It's feminine. Joyeuse Pâques. And in France, it is not the rabbit that brings les œufs au chocolat, c'est les cloches. It's the bells of Rome, les cloches de Rome. Serious, sérieux, sérieuse. Are you serious? Addressing to? He's got my t-shirt on. Tu es sérieux? Tu es sérieuse? Are they serious? Ils sont sérieux? Elles sont sérieuses. Être sérieux ou être sérieuse as an expression means that someone is reliable or professional. She's not professional. Elle n'est pas sérieuse. Furious. Furieux, furieuse. We are furious. On est furieux. Nous sommes furieux. Nous sommes furieuses. For all women. We say to drive mad. The French use rendre for rendering somebody in a certain state. Rendre furieux. Rendre furieuse. Monique drove Anaïs mad. Monique a rendu Anaïs furieuse. So it's not pronounced Anay. If you get the 2 dots over the I, that's telling you, pronounce everything. Anaïs. There's that perfume. Anaïs, Anaïs. To be in love with in French is to be amorous of. They use of, de in French. Amoureux de. Amoureuse de. I'm in love with your daughter, addressing vous. Je suis amoureux ou amoureuse de votre fille. They're in love. Ils sont amoureux. Elles sont amoureuses. He's never fallen in love. Remember, VIP verb. Il n'est jamais tombé amoureux. She's never fallen in love. Elle n'est jamais tombée amoureuse. Generous. Généreux, généreuse. Thank you. That's very generous. For the very, we're using the cow one. Merci, c'est vachement généreux. With c'est, you always use the masculine adjective. They have been so generous with them. Ils ont été si ou tellement généreux avec eux ou avec elles. Elles ont été si ou tellement généreuses avec eux ou avec elles. Nevertheless, yet. Pourtant, pourtant, a handy little word. It's coming back up in a minute. Pourtant. And yet, she's very generous. She's funnily generous. Et pourtant, elle est drôlement généreuse. Curious. Curieux, curieuse. Cats are very curious, using the cow for the very. Les chats sont vachement curieux. I'm curious to know why. Je suis curieux ou curieuse de savoir pourquoi. As soon as you get an adjective followed by an infinitive, you have to separate them with a de. The same goes for a noun followed by an infinitive. You need a de to separate them. Curieuse de savoir. It's curious. C'est curieux. It's a curious way to do things. The word for way, you can use manner, manière, or façon, manière, façon. They are both feminine. C'est une curieuse façon, une curieuse manière de faire les choses. You could say une façon curieuse or une manière curieuse de faire les choses. It's a little bit annoying. Most of the time they do come after. If in doubt, put them after. There are a special group where the adjectives go before the nouns, and there are some times when the adjective will change the meaning of the noun depending on whether it comes before or after. Nervous, jumpy. Nerveux, nerveuse. He made Monique nervous. He rendered her nervous. RE verbs in the past participle. The golden ewe. Il a rendu Monique nerveuse. I was so nervous before the concert. Same word for concert, it's masculine. French accent. J'étais si ou tellement nerveux ou nerveuse avant le concert. He was more nervous than me. Il était plus nerveux que moi. Monique and Anaïs were more nervous than them. Monique et Anaïs étaient plus nerveuses que, ou plus nerveuses qu'elles. Anxious, anxieux, anxieuse. Why is he so anxious? Pourquoi il est si anxieux? Julien is anxious because of Monique. Julien est anxieux à cause de Monique. Why? What did she do to make Julien anxious? Pourquoi? Qu'est-ce qu'elle a fait pour rendre Julien anxieux? She said she was in love with Seb. Amorous of. Elle a dit qu'elle était amoureuse de Seb. Copious. Not a word that we use much in English, but they do use it in French. We might say rich or overfacing. Copieux, copieuse. The meal was too overfacing. Le repas était trop copieux. Yet, do you remember it? The breakfast was quite copious. Quite filling. Pourtant, le petit déjeuner, or they shorten it sometimes to le petit déj, était assez copieux. Quantity, or we may say amount. Quantité. Whenever you see a QU in French, replace it with a K for pronunciation. Quantité. Feminine. There are, is il y a. Il y a. 3 words. Il, I, 1 letter, a, 1 letter. Il y a, there is or there are. Il y a une quantité copieuse de viande. There's a copious amount of meat. Gaseous, we're probably more likely to say sparkling. Gazeux, gazeuse. J'ai pris de l'eau gazeuse. Remember, prendre, the verb prendre is often used for consuming food and drink. I took the sparkling water. You often see it as eau pétillante. ILL, except for very few exceptions, is a y sound. Pétillante. No L. Pétillante. Common words where you do hear the L for ILL is ville, town, mille, thousand, million, million. Otherwise, it's a y sound, like fille, girl, famille, family, pétillante. She didn't want to take the bottle of sparkling water. Elle n'a pas voulu prendre la bouteille d'eau gazeuse. Of is just de by itself. So a bottle of water is une bouteille d'eau. But if you want to say of the water, you'd have to say de l'eau. For example, a glass of water, un verre d'eau. But do you want some water? You need the there. Vous voulez de l'eau? Bubble, bulle. Think of a bull blowing bubbles. Bulle is feminine. There are too many bubbles in this sparkling water. Il y a trop de bulles dans cette eau gazeuse. Still water is flat water. And we eat off flat things. L'eau plate, like a plate. De l'eau plate. The masculine would be plat. Water is feminine, so it's de l'eau plate. Flat water. Religious. Religieux, religieuse. Symbol is symbole, masculine. This symbol is religious, I think. Ce symbole est religieux, je crois. Well, you could say je pense, but they often say je crois, I believe. They had a religious wedding. Ils ou elles ont eu un mariage religieux. However, to be religious in French is phrased as to be believer. Être croyant. Être croyante. Maintenant, je suis croyante. I'm a believer. I have never been religious. Je n'ai jamais été croyant. Or croyante for a woman. A nun is a good sister, une bonne sœur. Or you may hear une religieuse. Une religieuse is also the name for a very naughty cake made out of choux pastry. It's a bit like a chocolate eclair, but just really big. Une religieuse plus une autre religieuse, ça fait deux religieuses. It's comedy French. Throughout this lesson, we have been looking at cognates. Cognates is just a fancy term to mean words that look the same or similar and mean the same in different languages. Cog, look at those two cogs. They look exactly the same. So let's look at some more cognates, where in English it's OUS and in French it's EUX or euse for the feminine. You can guess them. Désastrueux, désastreuse, disastrous. Vicieux, vicieuse, vicious. Infectueux, infectueuse, infectious. Avantageux, avantageuse. Sometimes there's a slight spelling difference. Advantageous. There's no D in French. Ambitieux, ambitieuse, ambitious. Capricieux, capricieuse, capricious. We don't use it much in English. The French do. If your child is prone to tantrums, elle est très capricieuse. And the word for a tantrum is une caprice. contagious, contagieux, contagieuse, délicieux, délicieuse, fabuleux, fabuleuse, fameux, fameuse, also means much talked about, or sometimes it's used for excellent. Ce gâteau est fameux. Laborieux, laborieuse, hard work, laborious, odieux, odieuse, courageux, courageuse, méticuleux, méticuleuse, précieux, précieuse, nombreux, nombreuse. Sometimes when people are organising an event and they are advertising or they are contacting you, they will say, come numerous, venez nombreux, come in your hordes, venez nombreux. Scandaleux, scandaleuse, malicieux, malicieuse, somptueux, somptueuse, merveilleux, merveilleuse. Slight spelling change there. Consciencieux, consciencieuse, voluptueux, voluptueuse, miraculeux, miraculeuse, lumineux, lumineuse, prodigieux, prodigieuse, volumineux, volumineuse, luxueux, luxueuse, monstrueux, monstrueuse, jaloux, jalouse. There are many more of these. I just tried to pick out the ones that I felt were more useful. There also exist some other EUX, euse adjectives that don't become OUS in English. Remember heureux, heureuse, happy. Malheureux, malheureuse, unhappy. Savoureux, savoureuse, that does work, but we probably say tasty. Coléreux, coléreuse, angry, quick-tempered. Ennuyeux, ennuyeuse, boring, annoying. Paresseux, paresseuse. It means lazy. Funnily enough, it's the name for a lazy animal, a sloth. Paresseux and paresseux. Silencieux, silencieuse, silent. Creux, creuse, means hollow. If you are hungry, in French you say j'ai faim. If you are peckish, you say I have a little hollow. J'ai un petit creux. Un petit becomes petit, un petit creux. Chatouilleux, chatouilleuse. Mr. Tickle, Monsieur Chatouille. Chanceux, chanceuse is lucky. Crapuleux, crapuleuse. Une crapule is a toad, heinous, vicious. Crasseux, crasseuse, grimy, filthy. Douteux, douteuse, doubtful. Orgueilleux, orgueilleuse, proud, arrogant. Poussiéreux, poussiéreuse. La poussière is dust, it means dusty. Honteux, remember H is silent. Honteuse, shameful. La honte, shame. Miteux, miteuse, seedy, scruffy. Soucieux, soucieuse, mindful, concerned. Respectueux, respectueuse, respectful. Irrespectueux, irrespectueuse, disrespectful. Boiteux, boiteuse is to have a limp. They are limpy. The verb is boiter, to limp. Elle boite, she's limping. Baveux, baveuse, drooling. And bavoir is a baby's bib. Dédaigneux, dédaigneuse, dismissive, scornful. They're quite negative, these, aren't they? Minutieux, minutieuse, thorough, painstaking. Chaleureux, chaleureuse. Ah, that's better. Warm, friendly. Pouilleux, pouilleuse. Ugh, flea-bitten. And then we have a few completely different ones. Ridiculous, ridicule, atrocious, atroce, or it's sometimes affreux or affreuse. C'est affreux. Suspicious, suspicieux, suspicieuse, if you're suspicious. If somebody's looking suspicious, suspect. And then there's also soupçonneux and soupçonneuse. And Susan reminded me in the lesson, un petit soupçon, there's a little something, just a little something, a little bit something not right. Soupçonneux, soupçonneuse. Et voilà les amis, our third group, the euse adjectives. Merci, à la prochaine fois.